Hello, and I'm excited to support you with creating a spell change project in Scratch. My name's Andrew, and I'll be walking through this tutorial with you to have you create a cool little project. And so the goal of this project is to when you start it is to click on the dice, and it will roll the dice. We've got sort of a virtual dice, and then you're going to click on one of these Canadian coins here. So we've got 1 cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, and 25 cents. And the goal is to get as close to, but not pass, 100 cents or $1. And we got Scratch hanging out here, and Scratch is going to help us with that. So the one thing that you're going to do is you're going to get this template, you either in the link below, or you might have been provided with it, and you're probably going to see this sort of green remix button. Now, because I'm the owner of this, I can't remix it myself, but you should be able to get a green remix option just about here. And then what you're going to want to go and do is see inside. And so you'll see that I've got all the sprites ready to go, but there's no code there. And so that's what we're going to do together. So the first thing we can probably start off with is maybe having Scratch welcoming us to our project. Now, I've already got Scratch and all the coins sort of laid out, but if you want to change them, go ahead and do that. I also hard-coded that, so I made sure that if, for example, the something moved, when you start the program, it will move back to where we want. So for example, Scratch, we can code him or her to stay right there. And so we often start off our programs with using the green flag. So the nice big green flag up here. And so we can code things to happen when we click on that green flag. And so I'm going to go into our events. So this is an event that will happen. So when the green flag is clicked, we want something to happen. And so first of all, we want Scratch to stay or go to that location. If for some reason Scratch moved around, we want to make sure that we are in there. Oh, actually, I made a mistake. We're not coding on Scratch right now. We're coding on the quarter. And that was because I had done that little demo. And you'll see that I'm light blue right here. And you'll also see in the top corner here what you're coding. And so I actually want to go over to Scratch and do some coding on Scratch. So yes, I had made a mistake, but we can turn those into teachable moments. So I'm going to have when the green flag clicked, go to this coordinate. So we've got X. So X is running from left to right, and Y is running up and down. And so we want Scratch to sort of hang out in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Now I invite you to explore with these different numbers. If you want Scratch to hang out somewhere else and you want the coins to be here and the dice here, go for it. I'm excited to see some of your projects. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to have Scratch say something. So we're going to go to looks. So the looks is how the Scratch or how something will look. And so in this, we're displaying something. So we're going to say, hi, welcome to the spare change project. So we can have that. We can explain the activity here, or I've already have it on the project page, so I don't necessarily do it again. But you can put another looks say, and then write something else. So there's two things that you'll see that we can have here is hi, welcome to the spare change project, and also for 2 seconds. So what I'm going to go to do is I'm just going to, just for this tutorial, I'm going to try to keep going back and forth with the big so you can actually see it. And so I'm going to click the flag. Hi, welcome to the spare change project. Now, that wasn't super fast. So maybe what I can do is make it a little bit faster, 2.5, maybe 3 seconds, and then we're ready to go to program. So for right now, we've got our Scratch is good, And so I'm actually going to go hop over to the dice, and I'm going to start coding the dice. Now the dice is relatively easy in terms of the code that we're going to use for it. So I like the position of where my dice is. So again, I can use this when green flag clicked, and the motion go to a certain value. And so you'll see these two numbers are different than what it is for Scratch, because that's the dice position. And so the range here is from negative 240 to positive 240 for the X direction, and then negative 180 to positive 180 in the Y direction. And so you'll see here that I'm positive 160 and negative 109. So great. And so now I want to have it that when I click on the dice, something will happen. So it's like that simulated roll of a dice. And so back into my events, there's an option here that's when this sprite is clicked. And so that's the one I'm going to be using. And so when I'm going to use this is I'm going to, there's two things that I actually want to have happen. I want to have the costume change to a random number. And then I also want to keep track of that random number because again, the goal is if I roll a 2, I want to then be able to click on the quarter, the 25 cents, to click on, and then I now have 2 times 25. That's my total amount that I have. So I'm actually going to go over into my variables, and I'm going to create a variable. Now I've already created 3 variables for you, but if you don't like those names, you can change them. So we're mainly gonna use 2 variables right now, and then I've got an extension activity that we're gonna use the 3rd variable. And so our first variable that we're gonna use is dice, because we want to keep track of our dice. And so a variable is a placeholder, so it keeps track of something for us. And so we're gonna keep track of the dice. So I'm gonna set dice to something. So right now it's setting dice to 0. Well, I don't want it to be 0 because a dice doesn't have the number 0 on it. It has the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And so if I just go over to my costumes for a second, you'll see the costumes that I've set up for you. And so I can click on them here, and you'll see them change over here in my project. And so costume 1 is 1. Costume 2 is the side of the dice that is 2. Costume 3 is the side of the dice that's 3. And so what we're going to do is we're going to set the dice to a random number, and then we'll change the costume. So first we need to find that randomness. So random is actually an operator. So we're going to head over to the green operators, and we're going to pick random. And now this is 1 to 10. But we don't want 1 to 10. We're going to use 1 to 6. So we've got 1. And so this will give me a random integer, or random number, or whole number from 1 to 6. So that's great. So if I click on it now, it did that. Now, you might say, well, I don't see any change. So right now, I've actually got my cents and my dice turned one on and one off in terms of what I can see. So I'm just going to turn on my dice so we can actually see what's happening. And then you'll see a little pop-up here that says dice. So if I click again, I'll see 1. Click again, I see 1. Click again, I see 3. So this is a great probability just right there. We're exploring the probability of rolling a dice and seeing what we have. Now, that's not our whole project. Let's keep going. So as I said, now that we have our dice being rolled, we want to change it so that actually looks like it. So we don't have to keep track of it using this little variable. It's nice to have a visual aspect of what it looks like. So we're going to go to looks, and so that's where we're going to change our costume. And so there's an option here that says switch costume. And so we're going to switch costume to, and right now it's the name of that image, which is preview 2, and then preview 3, 4, obviously is related to the number on the dice. But we're actually going to do it based on the random number that we pick. And so that's where we're going to go and grab the variable dice, and you'll see that it's shaped like an oval. And so is change costume 2. And so what it will do is it will take this inside of that, and so you'll see that it sort of highlights white, and so it will change it into there. All right, so now I'm going to run my program. So I'm going to run my program. So as computer scientists, we always want to run and test our program. Did this work? Yes, because we don't want to do a whole bunch of changes and then, oh no, something went wrong, but I don't know where because I changed like 5-10 things. So I've added 3 lines of code. Now when I click this, so dice is 5, and so is the costume. If I click it again, we've got 1 and 1. So great, we're good. I'm excited. So now what we can do is we can hop over to one of the coins, and then we can start to explore with that. And so let's start with our penny. So our penny, again, we're coding our penny because we've selected it down here in light blue, or we've got it up here in the top right-hand corner. So we can start coding our penny to have something. So because we are using, so again, we have this variable right here is called cents. So we're keeping track of how many cents we have in our program. And so we want to, so we have the option here to to set the cents or to change the cents. And so in fact, because we're going to keep adding on, we want to change the cents. Okay, so we're going to add this in here, but we also want to know when this code will happen. It needs something to go on top, and so it needs like a hat, and that's what we call those blocks that are shaped like hats. And so again, the process for this one is you click on the dice, and then you click on the coin to pick that as part of your grand total, which is down here. And so again, we're going to use this when sprite clicked. So we're not going to change cents by 1. We're going to change it by the number that's on the dice times the value of the coin. And so that'll work, that little statement will work for all of them, right? So again, I'm just going to make a little comment right here. So we're going to change the value of cents, sorry, to add the value of dice multiplied by the coin. I think I spelled that all right as well. So change the value of cents to add the value of dice multiplied by the coin. Okay, so it sounds like a lot, but it's not a lot. So we've got change the value of dice. So we've already done that. We've got change cents by, and then we can add in here. So let's sort of put this on the next line. So adding, so we're adding, so this should be then a positive number here. And the value of dice multiplied by coin. And so what we can do is we're going to go back into operators, and you might have noticed these already. Up at the top here is some of our basic mathematical operations. And so if I just grab this one, so that's multiplication, and I can put that in there. And so we're going to take dice multiplied by the coin. So I'm going to go get dice. And again, you can see how they're nice and round. That fits in there. You want to make sure that you've only selected either the right or the left-hand side of this multiplication and not the full thing. Because the full thing, if I hover it over here, it will just kick out my multiplication symbol. And so it's going to change it by dice. We don't want that. We want it such that it will put dice times 1. Or 1 times dice. Is that the same thing? So now that we've got our when the sprite is clicked, change sense by 1, let's test it out. So I'm going to run my program. So I'm going to welcome. I'm going to click on dice. So my dice is 1. I click on that. It's 1. Great. I'm going to run this dice again. I've got 2. Click on that. It now changed to 3. So because 2 times 1 is 2 plus whatever was there already, which was 1. So if I run this again, so that's 3. So now 3 times 1 is 3. Plus 3 should be 6. So if I click on that, I get 6. Great. So far our code is working. Now if I run this again and I click on the nickel, nothing's happening. It's because the nickel doesn't have any code in there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go to our penny, and we're going to do a little trick here I like to do, and I'd like to show students, is when computer programmers like to be efficient, or they like to be quick at what they do. And so because all of this in here, I never said that we were talking about the penny. I just said based on the coin. And so here we can actually drag this, and you'll see when I hover over my nickel, it sort of wiggled. Well, actually, I think I have to zoom out because might not have been able to see that. There you go. So you can see the nickel wiggling, the dime. The dime is going to be the same, and so is the quarter. So I'm going to do this all 3 times, and then I can jump over to my nickel, and then I've got, when this sprite is clicked, change sense by 1 times the dice. Well, a nickel is worth 5. So I'm going to change this to 5. I'm going to go to my dime, change it to the value of the dime. I'm going to go to my quarter, I'm going to change it to the value of the quarter. All right, so let's start my program. So welcome to Spare Change Project. I'm going to click on this. We got 3. The dice is 3. So we're starting at the very beginning. So if I say 3 times 5, I should have 15. But I don't. I have 22. So this 22 is actually left over from the value of my cents. Because when I press the green flag, it's still there. And so this is where I'm actually going to go back to my Scratch the Cat, and I'm going to set the value of cents to 0, because we start our project with nothing. And so we're going to start off with nothing. While I'm here, I could also change the value of dice to 0 as well. Not that it really matters, but I just don't want to start off and have, if someone had just rolled a 4 on the previous game and they just go ahead and click on the quarter, then they sort of win the game right away. And so we're going to start off with dice and cents at 0. So I'm going to go ahead and click the green flag. So again, we've started off, we got this one 0, this one 0. Oh, I should put this nice and big for you to see. So I'm going to click on dice. So we've got 2. And then spare change is currently at 2. So if I'm trying to get close to 100 pennies or $1, I'll start off with 2 times 25. That's probably a good amount. And then I click this again. I have 1. Well, 1 quarter is pretty good. I'm still doing well. I'm at 75. Click it again. I get, looks to be 1. I'll do it again. Great. I win. Yippee. So let's run that again. And so this is pretty well the project, if we wanted to keep it there. So I can click on this. So I have done dice is 1. So I click on it. If I click on this again, it's now 4. So I don't want to click on the quarter because 4 quarters is $1. So I'll click on here. So now I've got 65. All right. So let's see what we get. I got another 4, so let's do here. We got 20. 6. Ooh, 6 5s is 30, so that's too much. So let's go with there. And now let's go. Oh, 1. Oh, 1 that. Should I do it? So I'm at 96. So I have 4 more places, and the probability of getting between 1 and 4 versus 5, 6 on a dice. Let's go for it. I'm a gambler today. 4. Yeah! I won. Big money, big money. Okay. So that works out nicely so far. So if we go back here, a couple of the things that we can also add in here is, maybe Scratch can congratulate us on getting there. And so that's where we can have sort of Scratch waiting to know. Or, if we get it exactly, that's great. Or if we go over, maybe we can have Scratch let us know, oh, you went over, you should try again. But we're not going to have Scratch tell us when we're still, and if you want to, that's another opportunity. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Scratch sort of keep track and let us know and congratulate us if we get 100 exactly, or tell us if we go over. So I'm going to go into here, and the way we're going to do this is we're going to constantly be checking to see if the value cents is equal to or greater than 100. And so we can go into our control, and we're going to have a little if statement here. And so our if statement is going to have, we're going to be sensing some things. And so we're going to have an operator. And so our operator here will be checking to see if our value of cents is equal to 100. And so this operator is this value is sort of a yes/no question. So is cents equal to 100? If that value is true, then it will execute the code that we have inside of here. If it won't, then it will just jump over. And so what we can have in here is a little saying that says, great job, you are right on the money. Not Monday. Money. Okay. Now the one thing that we have to do is when we run this project is this code will run very quickly, but it won't continue to check this value. And so what we need to do is sort of be checking this value over and over again. And so we're going to do that using another control structure, or a control, called a loop. And a loop will do something over and over and over again. And so this one, we're checking this forever. All right. And so now, if I was to play the game, and so you'll see it also lights up in yellow to show us that this code is running. So I'm just going to go into the big screen for you. I'm going to click on this. So 1, click on 25, 3, 25, boom. So you're right on the money. Great. That was not planned at all. So if I stop it and I run it again, I can also, so if I do this, so 150, I'm now overboard. And so what I can do is I can have Scratch, again, sort of like if I've gone over, say, wah wah, or, try again. So again, we're going to have an if statement in here. And we can then have a greater than value. And so I'm going to say if cents is greater than 100, then we can say, now I can go back to looks and go grab that, but I'm going to show you a little trick. I can right click, so I just right clicked on that, and I'm going to click duplicate, and I'm going to drop it in here. And then I'm going to say, whoops, you went over. And there we are. So if I run this again, press the green flag. So welcome to the Spare Change project. So 4, well, let's do 1, 3. Yeah, so here I'll make sure that I'm going over. Great. And so that's pretty well it. Now, if you're good with that, then that's sort of you can sit there and be comfortable. One thing that I didn't do is for each of the penny or the each of the coins is I didn't hard code them where they can go, so I can move them around, and when I press it, they won't go back to that location. So if I had wanted to hard code them in this little arch type of thing, then what I can do is similar to what I did with Scratch using this go to function. So I'm gonna do go to, and then I'm gonna run that at the very beginning of my code, or at the beginning of the program. So again, when green flag clicked, go to that value. And so I can do the same for the nickel. So when green flag clicked, go to that location. Dime, go to that location when green flag clicked. And because I've already placed them where I want them to go, I don't have to change the values in here. Now, if I wanted it to go here, or if I wanted it to be up here, and I had brought these numbers out, and I'm like, oh, that's not where I wanted it. Well, if you look here, just above where all the sprites are, there's the 4131. So I can just go in here and put in 4131. And so when I press the green flag, everything goes to where I want it to go. If I moved these guys around, press stop, and then press the go, they will go to where I want them to go. Now, I don't like where this quarter is, so I'm going to move the quarter back. I think the quarter was at 140, negative 28 or something. I don't know. If I'm wrong, that's okay. I can test it out. That's good enough. Okay, so that's again, so that's where we can be sitting. If you're comfortable with that, then I would invite you to say that's it. And so here is my extension on this particular activity if you're interested in it. So the extension is when I am playing this game, and I roll the dice. I start off, so I got a 6, and I'm good with this. I'm gonna click on the dime, and then I roll again, and I get a 6. If I don't like that, I can click it again and say 3. Okay, that's good. And then I'll click it again, and then, oh, I got a 6. Well, maybe I'll do that. So I can just keep clicking until I get a good value. And that's not the goal of the game. The goal is to, based on when you click the dice, you have to pick a coin. And so what I'm suggesting is that a way that it will like activate and disactivate, or deactivate is the word, not disactivate. Activate and deactivate the dice when it's allowed to be rolled, and the coins when they're allowed to be clicked. All right? And so that's that third variable that I used in here, this rolling variable. And so when rolling is equal to 0, I'm allowed to roll the dice. But after I roll the dice, it will change, and then the penny, the nickel, and the dime, and the quarter, they can be clicked. And so it goes sort of back and forth, being able to click on the dice or click on the coin. And so again, this is sort of this extension. If you're lost, that's okay. I'll try to explain it more as I go through, or you can stop here. So what I'm going to do is in my dice costume is when I'm rolling the dice, I want to set this rolling to be 0. Okay, so I want it to actually no. I'm going to say rolling is 1. So I'm activated my rolling. That means I can't click this again. or I want to have it so that I can't click it again. And so the way to do that is make sure that I can't change this. And so I need to use, so if I'm rolling, or if I've just clicked, I can't click again. And so we need to find a way that we have that if in there again. And so again, that's our control. We have an if statement. So we're going to take all these things. And so my rolling values are just 1 and 0 are my only two rolling values that I'm going to use. And so I'm going to say that if the rolling variable is equal to 0, then I'm allowed to roll. If it's equal to 1, then I can't roll. Like, I can click on it, but it won't click again. You see that? So now that my code is in here, I've set my value to rolling to be 1. I can't roll it again. I have to set rolling to be 0. And the only way that I'm going to code it to be 0 is with my quarters, or nickels or dimes. The coins. That's the word I was looking for. So you have to click on the coin to activate that rolling, you're allowed to roll. And so we're going to use sort of the same if statement over on the penny. And so we're going to say that if rolling is equal to 1, then we're allowed to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my penny, sorry, and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say if, so I need equals, and I'm going to go to my rolling. So if rolling, make this nice and big for you, sorry about that. So if rolling is equal to 1, again, that's like I'm in the process of rolling, or I just rolled it, then I'm allowed to click on the penny. And then after I've clicked on the penny, I want to then change the rolling back to allow me to roll again. All right. So this is, hopefully this is not too complicated. This is actually called a state machine in computer science. So it allows you to go from sort of one state to another. And the way that you can think about this is, when you're at the grocery store and you scan all your groceries and then you pay. So like you can't swipe your credit card first. It can't do that. So it's sort of waiting for you to scan your groceries and then you go through the process to scan your credit card. And so that's sort of the idea here, is that when I press this green flag, is I can't add anything onto it because, again, we're at the very beginning. So both the dice and the rolling are 0. But once I click on the dice, so I change it to 5, that's great. And I could click on here, but I can keep adding until I've got a great job. Well, that sort of defeats the purpose. The idea here, so I'm going to restart it, is that I'm going to click on my dice. So I'm going to click on it. Oh, I can't click on it because I'm in rolling. I need to reactivate rolling. And so I'll do that with a variable at the beginning in the Scratch. So again, that's sort of resetting it. I'm going to set my rolling to be 0 so that I can start it. Okay, so let's restart our program here. So I'm going to restart. Welcome to the Spare Change project. Click on that. Okay, so I can roll. My dice is 3. If I click on there, my rolling is back now to 0. So now I can click my dice again. I should be able to. Uh-oh. Now these ones are working. Is this one working? Once I do that. All right, so it rolled. It must have rolled to 3. I must have not noticed it. So yeah, rolling is 1. So I can't add any more pennies. I can add more of the other coins because I don't have that statement in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to just sort of copy this statement over to our nickel, dime, and our quarter, and then we should be good. So I'm just going to take this and drop it in here. Take this and drop it in. Take this and drop it in. So now we've got sort of these two competing parts, but this first one is sort of our version 1, and this is our version 2. So I'm just going to update that and drag this over here to delete it. And then I'm going to go to dime, change this one to 10. I'm just going to clean up the blocks here. And I'm going to get rid of this one because we don't want that one anymore. And then I'm going to go to the quarter, clean it up, get rid of this one, change that to 25. And then we should be good. So I'm just going to check on the dime. It's 10. And we've got our rolling good. This is the nickel is looking good. The penny's looking good. Everything's looking good. All right, let's run this, see what we get. So, welcome to spare change. So I've rolled a 5. Rolling is 1, so it tells me that I'm rolling. I can't roll again. So I can't keep rolling until I get a 4 and then hit the 4 quarters. I can now, so I'm probably going to want to hit the dimes. And then if I hit the dimes again, I would be winner, winner, chicken dinner. But I can't. Can I hit the quarter? No. I'm clicking these ones. I can't click anything. So they've been deactivated. Oh man. English, not my forte. Okay, so we click on the dice. Great, I got a 6. I'm going to head over to the cents. Looking good. I can't add anything else. So I'm going to go back to my dice. 4, 5 cents would be great. What if, yeah, okay, let's do that one. We'll get right on the money. Great. So now if I restart it, I'm going to restart. And then I got 3. Oh, I don't want 3. I want something else. So I can't click it again. So I can click on that one, and then 3 times 15 would be good. No. So again, I feel pretty good. So here I had a 3 again, but rolling is back to 0. So that means, actually no. Right. Rolling was back to 0, so I didn't click it well. I didn't activate the clicking. So here we are. I've rolled it again, changed the dice to 6. The rolling is back at 1, so that means I'm now able to click on one of these, and so I'll click on that one. Oh, right, I went over. So just to show you that you can go over now. All right, so that is it. Hopefully that was a good little demonstration of this, and I would be excited to see some of your final projects. You can click on the project page, and you'd be able to add some instructions, credits, those sort of things if you want to. And yeah, happy scratching, happy coding. And if you have any questions, please reach out. You can follow me, various social medias, that sort of thing. So thanks very much, and happy coding.